Hello and welcome to the Bovis and Outdoor Chronicles. My name's Jared.
And my name's Garett.
We're two brothers who love the outdoors. We spend most of our money and all of our time on our adventures.
From working all week
to playing all weekend,
we find ourselves
surviving the week to live on the weekends. That one felt pretty good.
Yeah, you know, we only practice it about 3 million times.
Every 2 weeks.
This season.
Yeah.
So speaking of the season, it's still season 2, but something else has been changed. And that is the fact that it is no longer 2024.
No, we've entered 2025.
And it's ridiculous to me because it was like, in my mind, I'm still like stuck in 2020. Like at that point, I don't know what happened. I don't understand how it's 2025 already.
It hitting 2025 for me brings me back to when we were little, living in the parents' room, had the bunk beds, and they got us those quarter books.
Yeah.
And we wanted to get every state. And I remember looking at, I think, Montana. And Montana was going to come out in 2014. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That's so long.
I can't believe, it'll never. And now it's 2025. And I'm like,
like, where did the time go? Your perspective changed so much.
Yeah. I'll be in college when this quarter comes out.
Yeah.
Man, that'll be so far away. And then it was here.
Yep.
And now you have a kid and I'm married.
Yeah.
That's two things that happened this year, 2024.
Yeah. That is strange. Talk about being an adult. You're not fully an adult till you have a kid. And then you're officially an adult.
What about a pug?
Well,
because I also got a pug this year.
You did.
And my wife treats it like a baby.
That's true.
I don't. But
well, I don't know. I think there's a couple TikToks floating around with you dancing with it, kind of like it was your little baby.
Do you dance with your little baby?
With my human baby, yeah. With my pug
You dance
baby,
with your human baby?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, dude. It's like something.
Why is that weird?
People do that with dogs.
Babies. Is that? But be sure to check out Rube the Pug on Instagram if you want to see Jared hitting some moves with the little black pug that he got this year.
Yep.
But that's insane to me, the fact that all that stuff happened. Because when it was happening, it didn't seem like boom, boom, boom. But if you think about it, we like went on your bachelor trip this summer. You got married on my birthday. You got this pug.
You had a birthday.
I have a.
You had probably the biggest, most expensive birthday you've ever had.
I had a kid. I mean, it all happened so dang fast. So looking back in this year, I don't really realize how many adventures we go on until I start looking back at the photos. I'm like,
I looked through the photos. You want me to run down what I got?
Yeah, let's see what you got.
All right. Started off, I'll try to go in order, but they probably won't be in great order.
Yeah.
All right. First one is going to be
chronologically.
Yeah, but I'm going to try my best. It's not going to be, but first one's going to be spring bear. This spring,
all right.
We went up into some mountains, the No Name Mountains by Nunya Lake.
I wasn't included in this.
You could have gone. You chose not to.
Yeah.
But you already shot a huge black bear. So that was fun. That was like 3 days up in there, and I took some guys that wanted to go, and it was a pretty good time. I think, I do think it was a little much for one of them because we weren't hunting from the truck. We were backpacked in, and we were.
And then in the springtime, it's weather so dependent.
Oh yeah,
right?
It was cold. It was snowing. It was sunny. It was windy.
That's part of the beauty of hunting in the spring, but it's also part of the stuff like you have to be ready for that level of intensity.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to go for 3 days and the weather's not going to change.
Yeah.
Like you pack for it to change.
Yeah.
And you're packing for it to change on your back.
And chances are you're not going to be 100% comfortable 100% of the time. There'll be times when you're cold, times when you're
Yep. But speaking about spring beauty, the flowers are blooming on top of the mountains. It's every creek is running because the snow is melting.
We live in such a diverse place, and we do such a diverse range of activities. Some days it's like the mountain flowers are the prettiest. And then some days it's like that snow glistening in the sunlight, just kind of sparkling. That's the prettiest. And it's the same spot, but it like looks completely different.
And some days you're sitting on the eastern Montana prairie watching the orange yellow sunset go down above the drought-ridden sagebrush, and that's gorgeous. So it's just...
What I've noticed is like I don't really appreciate how pretty it is in the moment. But if I take photos and then when I'm back, I look back, I'm like, wow, that was so pretty, and then I almost, a lot of times with hunting, it's like I get so focused on the task.
Yep.
It's hard for me to like step back and just enjoy what it is. And that's especially different with like big game versus small game, right? Big game is definitely a lot more task driven. Small game, I find myself more opportunities to kind of just sit back and
take
relax.
It all in. Yeah. We're very goal driven. But Spring Bear, to kick it off, you fished Yellowstone Lake.
Yep.
It wasn't that good fishing.
No,
you guys went.
Caught a few.
Yeah, caught a few.
Took the old lady.
Yeah, and you took your old lady.
She and the baby, and the bear spray was in the back pocket of the seat, and I think she reached in the back of the seat and just kind of hit the bear spray like, psh. And then we had to fumigate our car, or that we bear sprayed the baby. I mean, he was fine. It wasn't enough to actually make it, but that stuff is potent.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I was I dated a girl in high school, and she took me up to her cabin up on a river.
Okay.
With her family, and I think it was one of her little brothers in one of the bedrooms sprayed a whole can of bear spray. And it was deep snow outside. We had to evacuate the cabin.
Yeah.
All the windows down. Oh, yeah. It was like we were sitting talking kind of in the kitchen of the cabin. And it's like an old cabin. So the rooms are off kind of on the perimeter. And the middle is like the living room, kitchen, big vaulted
living
ceilings.
Space. Okay.
And we're all sitting there and we're like talking. It's like, you're like, God, I got something in my throat. And then someone else is like, me too. And all of a sudden it was like, John, I think was his name. Did you hit the bear spray? And we ran, or Dad ran into the room and opened the door, and it was like, we all bailed out. Yeah. So it's funny that happened to you.
Would not recommend.
No. And I was thinking about Yellowstone Lake because we just cleaned out our annual freezer clean out, the one in the house, and we had some lake trout in there.
Oh.
So we're actually going to cook those up this next week, but reminded me of fishing Yellowstone Lake. Arctic grayling is on here.
Yep. So that was something I previously mentioned I wanted to do. Never caught a Arctic grayling before. So
did you go to the lake? I told you go to a different lake.
I don't know. I can't remember. Whatever lake it was, apparently I went there with Sierra when we were like first dating. And it was weird because I didn't have that memory and we were first dating. So like,
is it like the first lake you get to on the trail?
It's probably the 27th. I mean, it's clear back there. But the first time we went to this lake, we had a wedding, I think in Red Lodge. And then I'm like, well, let's go dick around in the mountains, Well, being the guy who liked to spend a lot of money on my shoes were like duct taped together. Like there's no lace, just duct tape, right?
I've seen
whatever. Yep.
Yeah.
So hiking up to the lake, well, I didn't bring a fishing rod. I'm clear up at the lake. I'm like, I got to do something, right? So that's when I wade in the lake. I take off my jeans, right? Because I'm hiking in jeans because that's always fun to do. Well, then, I don't know if you guys have ever tried to put jeans on wet legs. They just don't. They don't work. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to...
Wait, why'd you take your jeans off?
I waded in the lake. I didn't want to get my jeans wet.
Why'd you wade in the lake? I'm not understanding.
You don't go climb to a lake and then not do anything, right? I didn't have a fishing rod. It was summer. I had to do something.
All right.
Trying to impress the girl.
All right. Wait, this is when you were dating?
When we were dating.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is making more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, not recently. Okay.
No.
Okay, this is the first trip.
The first trip.
All right. I'm tracking.
Long story short, it's getting dark, headed down. My wife, she's always been a runner, likes to run. Ahead of me on the trail.
That should have been the first red flag.
Yeah, it should have been. She's got my pants. So I'm in my underwear and my duct tape shoes. And I finally kind of catch up to her and we're kind of walking. And then pretty soon she doesn't say anything and she just books it down the trail. I'm like, Sarah, what are you doing? And I look to my left and there's a moose standing. It was like off the trail, but it was probably like if I leaned over, I could have touched it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was standing there. It was a cow moose, but that's a big freaking animal. And why didn't she say, hey, there's a moose right there? No,
She just left.
She like locked up and just went.
Red flag number 2.
Yeah. Well, I'm in duct tape shoes. I have no pants on, and she left me. So you're right. Perhaps there was a red flag there.
Yep.
Perhaps it should have been pretty clear. Maybe not trust her in the mountains alone.
Yeah.
So long story short, okay, so that was initial.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently this lake with grayling in it is the same lake. I'm like, hey, you want to go to this lake? And she's like, yeah, we've already been there, actually. I'm like, really?
When?
Yeah. And then that brought up that past traumatic experience. And this time I brought the wife, and then we brought the little baby. And that was I've never hiked with a baby before. So that was kind of a...
In Grizz country.
Yeah. Well, Carrie, and then we had bear spray and stuff. But that was kind of cool. I don't know how much he actually like took in. But something cool about just kind of being in the woods and you're walking up with your family. It's a beautiful day. And granted, this place was a very busy trail. It was like, I feel like I saw more people than in my neighborhood. Up and down, up and down.
I know where you're talking now.
Yeah.
And it is. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to feel like you're in the mountains.
Yeah.
I went up to that lake, caught grayling in it a few years prior to you. My buddy and I went up there, and when we went to go camp at the lake, it was like you couldn't find a spot to camp. There's tents everywhere. And I'm like, what?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But it's good for like, you have a fresh baby. You just want to get out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I went and fished and caught a grayling. And they're kind of it wasn't like a thrilling fish catch. I mean, I didn't catch a big one, right? It wasn't like a giant fight or anything, but it was the excitement of, I found him, I did it. I can cross it off the list. And then the problem is like, well, what's the next fish I got to go for? So I haven't quite decided what my next...
Was that before or after we did golden trout? After?
The what? The grayling?
The grayling.
The grayling was this year. The golden trout was like 2 years ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
I caught grayling at that lake. I was not fishing
What
for
is this?
grayling.
Is this just like a fan page to you? Talk about all the things that you caught?
No, but what I'm saying is, because that's not the lake we were going to. That's just the first night.
Oh, when you went up there.
We got off work late, and that was the first place we could really camp. So we didn't even start up the trailhead till it was pretty much dark. And we went up to that first lake, and then the second day we went up to the lake we were going to. But I fished that morning we got up to go to the second lake. I fished that lake we camped at.
And then caught grayling?
Well, I was catching a few fish, and I'm like, these are weird-looking trout. And finally, one of them, I kind of took a closer look, and I'm like, he's a grayling.
No.
Like, I just caught my first few grayling, So it was...
Yeah, in that lake, it wasn't like a hard cast or anything. It was kind of... I would compare it to like the local pond.
Yeah.
Especially
the Laurel Pond.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but I remember Mom taking us to Laurel Pond.
Okay.
And I remember as a kid waiting there and fishing, and fish coming up and like picking the dead skin off your legs.
I don't remember this at all.
Yeah. But here's the weird part. Ready?
Yeah.
I remember that the fish that would do that were goldfish.
Are you sure?
Like you buy at pet, like feeder goldfish is what they look like.
Okay, so I don't have the best memory, but I also have been known not to fabricate things. I'm saying...
You weren't there.
I'm saying, okay, I've maybe seen goldfish in that pond, but I don't think that they would come up and...
Yeah,
like
they were like an expensive spa.
Are you sure? Yeah, I sure.
Could have been a dream. Could have been a dream. I don't know. All right, we did a lot of catfishing this spring as well.
Yep.
Took jet boats up the river, fished from the bank. We had a good time. Put some in the freezer. I watched you do some bow fishing. I didn't do much myself. I have the stuff. I just haven't.
May I ask why?
What?
Why you haven't? You have the bow. You have the reel. Why haven't you?
I don't know. It just... when you guys were bow fishing, I was just kind of like, I didn't feel like putting in the effort for it. You know, like, God, we do tons of stuff and I enjoy it, and I would enjoy bow fishing, but sometimes I just want to like relax for a day or two. And I don't know. I'm not like a huge fan of carp.
Yeah, to deal with them after you shoot them.
Yeah, and cook them or smoke them or do something.
Yeah.
Where I don't, you know, it's kind of like if somebody invited me to go shoot prairie dogs. It's fun, but I don't know. I don't like to just kill stuff to kill stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I like to do something with it. So, but yeah.
I did get a 2-for-1 shot this year, which I hadn't done before, where I saw one kind of, so they're spawning, right? So they kind of stack up on each other and shot and pull on my string, and 2 of them came in. And that was pretty exciting.
Was that this year when I was hitting them with rocks, or was that last year?
That would have been last year.
I don't have your...
Hold on. I don't like to kill stuff. So I was hitting this stuff with rocks.
But I ate them.
Yeah.
I did. You wanted a bow fishing, but you didn't bring your bow fishing stuff. And then you were on call for work, and you got called and had to go.
I had my bow fishing stuff, but I got called when the
and
train went in the river.
They were spawning on the bank so thick, like you could walk, and they were hitting your leg. So I just waited in the bank, and I was trying to grab them and throw them up on bank. Well, they're too slippery. You know, as soon as you got a hook on one, they kind of go. But what I realized I could do is I could get pretty close, and I'd have a rock. And so I get kind of close, and I would bean one in the head, and it would stun it just enough that I could throw it up on bank, and it would kind of flap, and I go over and club it and be done. I think I caught like 5 or 6 big carp this way. With a rock. I felt like a champ. It's like, I can survive, Survivor Man. Put me on Naked and Afraid. All I need is some rocks.
At this reservoir, at this time of year. And it's a good year for carp.
It's a good year. Yeah.
But no, it's exciting. And one thing about bow fishing is Sierra enjoyed it, which was weird.
Enjoyed watching you?
Yeah, like, because we took the boat out, and I was like, well, watch. You got to wait for him to feed, and then you start to see him, and then she's like, there's one right there, and she was looking farther, and then one came up, so I shot the one not she was talking about, but a different one, but she was kind of like, wow, this is kind of exciting, you know, because like with normal fishing, it's kind of like a waiting game.
And she likes a normal fish as well.
Right.
She's a fisher, so.
But with this, it was kind of almost fast action. It was like, oh, there they are, go, you know.
Yeah. Oh, we went on, you mentioned the big river trip we went on, big bachelor trip for 3 or 4 days. I don't remember. It's all a blur, but it was a fun blur. We did some walleye fishing this year. Trolling for walleye was great.
I didn't do that. You did that with Holly, with your friend Jeremy.
Yep. Jeremy and Sherry. Nice boat.
Yeah, it's weird being on a boat that nice. I mean, most of our stuff's like jerry-rigged together. It's like,
agreed.
Well, you got to jiggle this, and it was like, no, it starts right up. Like, I was nervous because I did go catfishing with those guys, and I remember the river was raging, right? And
when we went,
we put off, and I'm thinking like, you put your boat in that water, if that sucker's not starting, it'll start, you know. And it was just a smooth operation. I mean, Sherry backed the truck up like better than I even thought I could do in my wildest dream. I mean, it's just such a smooth operation, and the faith they had in their boat starting. If I'm putting a boat in the river, I'm damn sure it's making it start before I like send it.
Yep.
I think it's just my stuff doesn't always start.
And that was high water on the Yellowstone.
Yeah. Rolling.
Like, I don't know. I'm sure people are used to high water, but what you have to understand about the Yellowstone is the longest undammed river, I think, in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe continental. Alaska's got to have some bigger rivers.
Well, it has like diversion dams, but like actual dams, no.
Is it the biggest in the States or just the continental states?
I think it's the States.
Including Alaska? It seems to me that Alaska would have a longer river undammed.
I don't know.
It's some kind of award like that, but when high water hits in the Yellowstone, it rages. It's uncontrollable, really. And I mean, you lose islands and new islands pop up.
Yep.
Giant
Whole
old
cottonwoods.
cottonwoods go in. 50, 60-year-old cottonwoods get swept down. And so in high water, you can be in the water and you look over and there's a whole tree floating by you underwater, right? Just,
I have an admiration towards that Yellowstone River because it is so powerful, because it changes channels.
so wild.
Yeah, it just feels untamed.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Bighorn, it's like, yeah, it's a great fishing river. You can hunt some ducks, but it's like, it kind of just stays the same. But the Yellowstone, you're like,
They control it at the dam.
what's going on here?
Yellowstone, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, that one year we had all that downpour rain and it swept houses in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it was nuts.
Yeah, that's why I don't own riverfront property. You know, that's the number one reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Got the money to, just
Yeah.
choose not to buy it. So that was fun. And we've been doing quite a bit this year. You shot a swan.
I shot a swan.
Shot a swan.
Shot a swan. I was going to say like swan-sational.
Sensational.
Swan-sational.
Swan-sational.
So story with that. Once again, it's hunting season. I think were we out antelope hunting, I think. It was during that time.
Okay.
But I had my paper for school due, so I'm like, I can't be gone. I need to at least have a day to put on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was one of those things that's like, talk to the old lady, hey, I'm going to be in town this day. Do you want to do something on this day? Yeah, sure. You know, she's always up for an adventure. Well, we took the kiddo and we kind of drove around and went to the spot where I found previously, I think it had like 3 swans on it. And for the last couple of years, I've been trying to shoot a swan. And we go to this place and there's hundreds of swans on it. Hundreds. So I'm like, in my head, it's like ding, 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 ding. Like, let's go. But got to find someone to watch the baby. So, because Sierra wants to go with me, which I admire the help, right? Well, all right. Talk to my mom. She said she'll watch the baby for half the day. Let's go shoot a swan. Where we're hunting them at.
You need a drink of water?
Sorry.
It's good.
Maybe I do need a drink of water.
I think so. Is that your new tick instead of You're going to start going for anything?
I think it's just air quality in this house.
It might be. So you were saying?
So, are you done now?
I don't know. I'm going to get you on
Well,
it again.
here's my issue is you gave me sparkling water, which isn't exactly a throat soother.
There's some water over there.
That's sparkling water.
Why'd you set it over there?
Out of camera shot. Back to my
Right
story.
here's out of camera shot. Then I can top myself off.
My story.
Your story.
May I continue?
All right, continue.
So, got my
Grandma Linda watched
the kid.
Yep.
Took the old lady. Well, it's a whole nother story, but long story short, my dad owns a little jet boat, and we had to go pick it up. It was
John boat,
John boat,
not
yeah.
jet boat.
Excuse
no
me.
motor.
Yeah.
Just a metal John boat.
Yep. So went and picked that up from a guy who had it for a couple of years. Got it ready to go. Stopped by Seabells, or now Bass Pro technically, and bought some oar attachments, right?
Let's talk about some negative things real quick. Seabells turning into Bass Pro. That's a loss. That's up there with some negative stuff.
Why you got to bring that up? I'm trying to be this positive.
All right, back to the swan hunt.
Are you done?
No. If I was smart enough to put it on a t-shirt, I would I'd put it on a t-shirt.
I don't even know how you spell that. I'll say now. Is that better? Search that doesn't feel as good on my phone. We got to this lake, got the boat out. Well,
Yep.
night before I told Sierra, I'm like, hey, you need to have waders, right? You have to be dry. Do you have wading boots? Yeah, I have wading boots. Well, of course, she didn't check her sock size plus waders, and her wading boots wouldn't fit. So I'm like, well, you can wear these waders. They leak a little bit, and they're going to be way big. So she put on heavy neoprene waders and couldn't move at all. Well, unbeknownst to me, this lake is a mud hole. So had to park the truck back away, and then I had to drag this John boat from the truck to the lake, and it is a freaking mud hole. all I can do is like grab on it and lean all my body weight and get like 2 feet at a time. Grab it, lean it like 2 feet at a time. Meanwhile, there's people that are also hunting the other side of it, and they're all set up, and we rolled in a little bit later than I wanted to. And I know they were like, look at these dipshits going. But, I mean, it was a fight. Sierra was pretty much helpless with those big waders on. She had a hard enough time just
walking,
just moving. Yeah. All right. We finally get on the water, out of the mud. It took way longer than it should have. Got decoys set, and I did buy some swan decoys, and I set them down, and I'm telling Sierra, we're probably going to sit here. I told Mom half a day, but it might be all day. We're going to sit here and wait for these swans to come by. It's just going to be a waiting game, right? About 10 minutes in, here comes some swans, just low. Like you can see their pupils of their eyes. I mean, they were just low, right? Boom, boom, boom. And I didn't get one. I don't know. I just got maybe too excited. I mean, they're a big bird coming over. And then for the next hour and a half, I just got shit talked by my wife about, well, I could have shot that. I asked if you wanted to get a tag, and you said no. And you're like, well, I thought you would be able to hit them. I mean, geez, that was so low. How did you not? It's like I take my wife out. I'm trying to impress her. I spend all this money on hunting, and then I just
her mouth
embarrass myself. Well, then I'm like, well, this seems like a good way. We'll just kind of sit here for a little bit longer, maybe try over here, try to hide a little bit better. And some swans fly over high, and I shoot at them and didn't quite get them. Kind of getting discouraged, it's getting late. And, well, we could see them kind of landing on where we're hunting. There's a private side where they can land, but you can't hunt them, right? Well, I'm like, well, let's kind of go see where they're landing over there, maybe get a better idea for next weekend. And we start going over there, and Sierra's like, they're actually, all of them have been flying kind of on this line. They're flying across here to here. Let's go sit on this line in like the middle of the sagebrush. And I'm like, how how many times I've sat in the field trying to catch something cross shooting? There's nothing going to happen,
We shot snow geese doing that.
That's true. With a shotgun, your range is so limited, right?
Yep.
So everything just has to be dang near perfect. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go sit over here. So we go sit over in the middle of the sagebrush, and I'm like, well, how long do I got to sit here for she's going to get bored? 5 minutes. Here comes swans, lower than heck. Boom, shoot. Dump one. Coming down, whack, hits the ground. Frick, yeah, I just shot a swan. Frickin' excited. Dog runs over, won't grab it. His head's up, and my dog's a big dog, but a swan is a big bird. And his head's up, and I'm like, I don't want my dog to get bit by a swan
or get his eyes pecked out or something. Yeah.
And I go over to it, and I grab its neck. I'm like, this thing, I don't know how to kill it. It's too big. Well, it did expire without much help, but my dog wouldn't grab it and pick it up. It was too big for him. He went over and stood on it, but wouldn't try picking
Held it
up.
down.
Yeah. So that was kind of excitement. But then I had to listen to my wife how I missed the ones in the morning. We could have been back by 8 a.m. And then I didn't get one till she told us what to do. And then
it was all her.
Yeah. And I want to get the swan mounted, but it's a little bit out of my price range. But my wife is 100% for it because she's like, we did it together. Eventually we did it together. So I'm like, how often does your wife on board getting something mounted? Yeah.
How much is that going to cost? Price range.
The lady that we interviewed season 1, Melanie with Bearded Hen Studio, she does the best work so far.
Yep.
And she quoted me around $2,000, $2,200 for flying.
God,
that's a lot. But
oh my God, that's more than a head mount.
A giant swan flying.
Where are you gonna hang it?
I'll find wall space.
Jesus.
Maybe take down my wedding picture.
Are you gonna have it on the wall, or are you gonna have it suspended?
I don't know. I'm not to that. Right now I got to figure out how to come up with money before I think about
$2,200. Jesus. Well, I hope you get it mounted, and I kind of want to shoot one. How many days I got left? Is it swan closed?
I don't know. I have to check the regs. I'm not sure.
Maybe that's what I'll do this weekend.
I think they're probably out of here.
So you shot a swan, but you also shot a bull this year.
Yep.
Your biggest bull.
Yep. And that was a thing we put the most effort out on.
Yeah, it was. Again, if we drew a tag next year for that area, I think we'd do it differently.
Yeah. Well, with all hunting, right? You learn a little bit each time.
But also, that elk that we chased with you, we probably would have tried more during archery season
Yeah.
if you had a bow that was working.
Right.
Your bow kind of took a shit right when we wanted to go.
Well, yeah.
So we were mostly upland game bird hunting when we could have been hunting elk with the bow.
But also, I have a dog who's, how old is he, 2 now? So it's like, I had kind of a hidden agenda there because I want to get him out, get on some birds. Because that first year, they're still kind of figuring out. Year 2, they're a lot more
and you were working
proficient.
with your dog quite a bit.
Yeah.
In the dowd season for it. So you got that. Holly, she shot a dandy antelope. That's getting a euro at the taxidermist. And then Holly and I both got deer. Both got some nice Montana mule deer. Took her out in some badland stuff. It was typical. You tricked me. You drug me out into this. And she has a horrible sense of direction, which doesn't help well at all. I'm like, we're going to come in and do this loop and we'll come back to the truck. And we're like not even halfway done with the loop. And she's like, all right, so the truck's right over this hill. I'm thinking, what? No, we haven't even turned around and started heading on the back side of the circle on the loop yet. We're still heading this way. No, there's the truck's back that way a while. Oh my God. It was pretty funny, but yeah, she got her deer and then I danced with mine in the evening till dark. Couldn't get on him, couldn't find him again, and next morning I went out and found him, so felt good.
Yeah, put something on the ground.
Yeah. So we had a good big game season as far as that goes. And that's just stuff with horns. We did shoot a few antelope does as well. Lately, we've been dominating the ducks.
Yeah, that we have.
Seems like we got this spot thanks to the old man. It's kind of his hookup.
Yeah.
And we get a limit every day. We go, usually. It's kind of weird if we don't get a limit.
Yeah, it's like, it's the kind of spot that kind of ruins hunting for you because it's so proficient. I mean, the conditions are just right. For this time of year, the ducks are just in that area. And it's, 20 minutes from your house? So it's just...
20 minutes, yeah. And
it's like
this last... When did we go on the 1st?
Yep. Would have been Wednesday.
Wednesday the 1st. We went for the morning, and if... we have plans to kind of make our blind a little more useful. Because right now it's just kind of shit we threw together to cover us up. But Garett and I were sitting, we were limited by 8:06.
So the whole plan was...
And we got there late.
Yeah, we did.
If we would have been there before light, like we normally are, and then it got light, we would have smoked 8:06. I mean, they were swirling. We couldn't load fast enough. Our dogs couldn't get ducks out of the river fast enough and drop them and go get the next one.
So the plan with you and me sitting together is one of us is going to record, one of us is going to shoot.
To catch this on film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
No, I go, all right, are you filming? And you're like, yeah. And then shit started popping off, and it's like you forgot what you were doing.
Well, you forgot what you're doing. How come our page isn't a fan page to Jared, although it looks that way because most of the pictures are of you.
I'm the
and
talent.
That just
it's
is
natural.
that what it is?
It's natural. I'm the talent.
To tell you the truth, it's a lot about lighting and angles. I'm like, oh, he looks kind of fat in that one.
Yeah, is that what it is?
My dog, I don't know what it is about that blind you built, but he just...
Okay, if you guys can picture this blind is shaped like this. The front's here, the side's the back, okay? I don't even know if this is showing up on the camera well. The entrance is right here. You can't really get out this side, but you come in this side and 2 guys can sit in there. It's just big enough for 2 guys and 1 dog.
Yeah.
2 dogs is pretty tight.
Yeah. A dog and a horse.
Well, a dog and a horse. When I first built that blind, I'm like, hey, do you want to help me build the blind? And you're like, sure. And you threw a couple of weeds on the space I was doing it. And you're like, yeah, that looks pretty good. We're leaving. And I'm like, all right. You and Dad left, and I built this blind. And my thought was, you guys sit at this other end. I was trying to sit here. It just needs to be big enough for me and my dog, really. and maybe a little bit of gear. So that's what it was built for. But it turned out to be like the honey hole.
Well, if you think about it, the majority of the ducks are flying downriver.
Depending.
Every time we've gone, the majority of ducks have this year. The majority of ducks have been going down.
I want to agree with you, but before I built that blind and I sat with you guys in the cars, the ducks were coming upriver because they were bombing in from the right. You can disagree all you want, but they were coming up downriver. And also in the cars where you sit right to your right's where they pool.
So then you thought, I'm going to go, all the ducks are going down, so I'm going to go upriver and I'm going to build a blind for one guy.
Why did I go upriver?
I don't know.
In the years past, where have I always gone? I've always tried to hunt there. This year, the Yellowstone River changed it a bunch, and it made it
better spot.
Way better spot.
Yeah.
But the year before it sucked, but the year even before that, it really sucked for ducks, but it was good for geese because there was all those trees before the river ate it.
Yeah.
And so I could sit just at the base of a cottonwood tree, and those geese would come in low above those trees, and I was shooting geese through the cottonwood trees and just dropping them on land, right?
Yeah.
So at change, it went away. Then ducks kind of sucked there, but I've always kind of had this fascination with that corner.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right? I always try to go hunt there. This year, it's the perfect storm.
Yeah.
You know, and so we built this little blind. But for some reason, back to what we started talking about, Garett's dog, Flux, cannot figure out how to get in the blind. He can get out of the blind.
Yeah.
But when he goes to coming back, it's too much for him. Yeah, go on.
I trained him like when he working his dog blind, he comes in one way, goes out the other one.
Because he's too big to turn around.
Yes.
Like my dog can run in the blind, turn around and sit.
Right.
But your dog
can't.
Because they don't make Shetland-sized dog blinds.
So he always like tries to come in the back. So he's got to like crawl. So he drops the duck. He won't crawl with like the duck in his mouth. So the ducks are pouring in. We're like trying to get the dogs.
Yeah.
There's just a pile of ducks like behind us trying to figure out how many ducks we have.
We're counting,
we don't shoot over the limit.
Yeah.
And the dogs are just like.
Meanwhile, we're trying to count. Ducks are just dumping in, dumping in.
And it's like
Fox, get in here, or they're not in here, and you're like, sit down.
Go get it, At one point, it was just like they would go get a duck, we shoot them. They go get a duck.
Yeah.
I mean, they loved it.
Yeah.
They absolutely loved it.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah. And I had the opportunity to take one of my friends, Cameron, out there and shoot ducks. He's never been duck hunting before. And the first day we sat in that spot with the blind, and it's an easy shot.
And this was like I just finished the blind, and it was a good spot to go. Like we were getting more ducks. And then you're bringing your camera and Dad that night. I'm heading home. He goes, yeah, Garett and Cameron are sitting in your blind tomorrow. And I'm like, who the fuck asked? How does that get decreed?
Well, it's not your blind. Let's just throw that out there.
Well, how do you even 1 minute ago when you referenced it, you didn't go, oh, the blind that's up there. You went, your blind, because I made it. I don't own it. It does need to be redone.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to take everybody and their fucking brother. It's for me and my dog.
Yeah, clearly with the size of it.
Yeah.
But I had the opportunity to take them there. And the way that the blind set up, you're up higher. And the way that the river is those ducks pretty much come straight at you.
Yeah, they're landing right into you.
So it's a very easy shot.
You're not cross-shooting them. They're not landing one way or the other.
So that first day, Cameron and I went out, and we freaking smoked them. We limited probably around 9:30, right? And a lot of times I was yielding to him to shoot first, and man, he was just freaking excited, right? I mean, it's exciting. Never been duck hunting, and then to go there and limit out.
And we have it figured out.
Yeah. It's insane. The next day, we sat where we normally sit by the cars.
We switched.
Yeah. And that's a cross shot. So the ducks are flying a lot faster. And he got a duck. He shot a lot more than that. And he even texted me after, man, I got some clays. I'm going to go practice. That was embarrassing. Don't take my man card.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you saw my garage. You saw how many empties were in there. It takes a while to figure out that shot.
Yep, it does. Well, and the ducks we're hunting are fast as shit.
Golden eyes.
Yep. So it's not like we're not targeting a slow duck.
Yeah.
And those golden eyes too, they'll be flying. You think they're landing. You shoot. They drop out of the sky and hit the water and go underwater.
And you're like, wow, I got it.
Oh, yeah, I got it. And then 3 feet later, they pop out of the water flying full speed again. And it's like, Jesus.
And that's one thing, you know, I think diver ducks kind of get a bad rap because they can be a little bit worse tasting.
Mm-hmm.
I know you made some jerky, and even tonight we ate some egg rolls with that duck meat in it. But they kind of get a bad rap, but I've really enjoyed hunting them because they are so acrobatic. Like when you shoot them and they hit the water, a lot of times they like bounce if you hit them good.
Yeah.
Or like you're saying, okay, you got them, and then they dive, then they come out of the water like
flying
10 feet away flying. Yeah.
Yeah. And not flying slow. Like,
no.
Yeah, like they shoot out of the water.
And then even like with the dogs, being able to control them back, because those ducks are freaking tough.
Yeah, so you'll hit one, boom, he'll hit the water, and if it's heads up, you can't send your dog.
Yeah.
Because they'll dive on them, and your dog can't find them.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times you'll hit one, boom, and if it's heads up, you water swat them again. 1, 2, maybe 3 times, depending on how far out they're getting. And until they go belly up, you don't send your dog. And so that's something our dogs are having to learn too.
Yeah.
They're getting really good at is like waiting until it's like go. Because you don't.
Yeah.
The worst thing is when we first did it, we'd have those dogs break early.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we're shooting pheasants or we're shooting grouse or something. As soon as they see it falling, they're going. And that's bad because we're going to have to hit it again. Well, your dog's in the water right next to it. And it's not a good
shot. But like I said, I just had more admiration towards these diver ducks. And then even I took one of my old Mojos and sanded it up and painted it a beautiful paint job. I mean, it looks good.
It looked good. I was like,
I knew
you did this?
Yeah.
It shocked me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I've seen shit that you've made or done before, and that was a higher quality than your average.
Gee, thanks. Well, I spent this time. It looks freaking beautiful, right? And then I posted in a Facebook group, Divers Only, which specializes in just diver ducks. And I'm like, where should I place this? 99% of the comments, at home, leave it in your garage, in the truck. So it's got a really nice paint job, but I don't know how much use it'll actually get.
You did try it. We've tried it a few times.
I've tried it a couple times. This spot doesn't seem like it makes a difference.
Yeah, I can't say it's worse or better.
Yeah. But less gear. I mean, the ultimate duck hunting is just what you need, the bare minimum amount. Right?
Honest to God, I know we have our decoy set. Mm-hmm. I think we could get rid of 2/3 of it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
But I also kind of set all that other stuff in case we get some other ducks interested, you know?
And that was even what this last New Year's or whenever we went. We limited out
so quickly.
I was still sitting in the blind. You went down to talk to the old man, and then some like greenheads came low, and I'm like, why did I shoot and limit out? You know, I could have got a mixed bag. That's one thing I kind of like about duck hunting is that ability to get a mixed bag, kind of different species.
Yeah. But yeah, we've just been dominating ducks. I mean, I've been taking Dad's limit too because I've been processing them and cutting them up. And I remember one night I had a few of our trips stack up, and I usually let them hang in the garage a day or 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I did 29 ducks and a goose in one night. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And I plucked them
old man
by myself. No, by
man.
myself, and I plucked them. I didn't just, skin them out, breast them out. I plucked them and cut half the duck. So you got breast, thigh, and leg.
That was a lot.
On diver ducks.
That was a lot.
People probably think that's gross, but we've been cooking them. I made some jerky out of them.
Yeah.
Jerky turned out good.
Really good.
And then the egg rolls, you had some
tonight.
All these egg rolls, and they were
delicious.
So I know they get a bad rap for tasting bad, but we must have figured something out because I could eat them.
Yeah.
No problem.
Any other duck. Can we talk about your contraption right there?
I don't want to say I invented it, but I should Google it. I've not seen one online. So maybe I am the inventor of it. Basically, I made a duck lanyard. You've seen them. There's duck lanyards.
Yeah.
I didn't invent that. But what I did is I actually made them like hanging noose. So what you do is put your duck head in, tighten it down, make sure the knot's at the back of their head, just like if you're hanging a guy and you hang your lanyard. And so specifically we've noticed with diver ducks too is even when your dogs bring them back, they're still kicking.
Yeah.
You know? And you got to try to snap their neck, or normally I don't like snapping their neck because you fling blood everywhere and all that. So normally I just kind of like hook my finger there and I just kind of sit there and hold him for a little bit till he, you know, kind of choke him out. Well, this does it for you. I will say when I looked up, because I don't tie nooses all the time, right? So
You're not in the noose tying business?
No, but I will tell you, I Googled it, right? Or on YouTube, like how to tie a noose. It brings me up to a suicide prevention thing. And I'm like, this is going to be a problem because, like, I don't know how to find this video if this keeps popping up. And then the bottom left corner, I found I don't need this, help, skip, block, or whatever. And I clicked that, and then all the videos came up. Yeah, and they're not, like, negative videos. They're just, like, somebody like, this is how you tie a noose.
It wasn't like, how to choke your chicken. Oh, wait, that's something else.
No, it's different lanyard.
Yeah.
Selling those too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is my contraption. And I put, your limit is 6 ducks. I put 8 on there just in case you hit a goose or two.
Yeah.
And this, yesterday, we did hit a goose, or I got a goose, so I've not filled the lanyard up yet with 8.
So that would be 6 ducks, 2 geese?
6 ducks, 2 geese, yep. Well, and up till yesterday it closed, it could have been a pheasant too.
Oh.
You know, but
that's true.
Yeah,
but
so
that's been kind of a good invention. I know they sell multiple things like for carrying ducks, but they also sell like those little finisher tools because I hate watching stuff suffer. I just want it to be fast.
Quick.
Yeah. And that's a relatively fast way to do it. And it serves 2 purpose.
Yep. And I've talked to a lot of guys that, like, you look on their call lanyards, they have the little duck finisher. You know, some guys are like, I just stomp on their heads, shit like that. Just, it seems like a quicker, more humane way. And it's, I mean, you saw it work. It worked pretty good. Slip them in, zip them, hang them.
Slip them and zip them.
Slip them and zip them. And so you guys liked it, and I made you and Dad one, and you guys tried yours out yesterday.
Yep.
Filled them up, or put 6 ducks on them. And then what's nice, too, is they're just all right there. You can pick your ducks up. Yeah.
Then you also made them so you can unhook it, kind of like a fishing stringer, right? Can you show that?
Yeah, it's hooked on that side of the big. So how this originated was that night I had to do the 29 ducks. I was running out of room to hang them in my garage.
So get it so the camera can see it.
Yeah. So each end right here it's just a loop, not a noose, just a loop on each end. And I throw them on a carabiner just to
I noticed that this carabiner is a lot higher quality than the one that I have.
I bought yours and Dad's. That one was one I just had in my hunting stuff. So I didn't buy it for this. It just was an extra one. It's a little big.
You can hang them on a gambrel.
That's the length I made them. Yeah. So what happened is I had these 29 ducks in my garage, and I'm like, how can I hang these ducks up, right? Well, I had rope in there from the deer and the elk we've had, and I had those gambrels. So what I did is I just tied a loop in one end, hooked it on one end of the gambrel, and then I tied a bunch of like hitchhiker loops down the line and a loop on the other end. And so I had a gambrel or a tree, right, with a rope, and underneath it hung all these ducks. So, I mean, 29 ducks, that was like 3 days, 2 guys. That's 12, 24, about 3 days of ducks. And I had a goose too. And so, that's how I kind of came up with it. It's worked good.
Yeah, well, it's got multiple purposes, right? You can hang it in your garage. In the field, you can carry your ducks and then also finish your ducks. So props to you. And you're a waterfowl hunter now. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
You officially...
I'm a waterfowl hunter now. I'm not... I will say this. If I had to choose, like a day came up and you're like, hey, we're going duck hunting. It's going to be crazy. And big game was still open. I hadn't shot my deer. I'd be deer hunting. Like on the totem pole, waterfowl's still here. But that's also because waterfowl goes like this year to the end of January.
Not quite, but yeah.
It's open for a long time. Like and that's something I kind of wanted to mention about, us dominating these ducks and just having kind of a good, relaxing end of season. Is this spot we've got? It's a half a day.
Yeah.
And it's not half a day because we're there. It's half a day because we kind of shoot our limit and then we kind of screw around picking up. If we were serious about it, I bet I could show up, shoot my limit, and be back by 10 to my house.
Don't record that. My wife might listen to this episode. Then she's like, Jared said you can be back by 10.
Well, I could.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you and Dad. Dad, you're a little slower shooting.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. And it took us a while to figure out the decoys. But I think we've got it, dialed in.
Yep.
We set them up pretty quick and pretty deadly.
Even like this last time we were late and we still limited out by 8:09, I think.
We were late. We were throwing out decoys, and after we got a few decoys out, it was shooting light. Mm-hmm. They were bombing in the decoys as we were throwing decoys out. And it was like, at one point, we had one more thing of decoys put out, and they were tangled bad, and I got 3 out, and I threw them in. I'm like, fuck it. Like, they're
it doesn't
bombing
matter.
right now. So, I got the duck noose. I built a little blind. We're going to build that blind bigger.
Yeah.
I ordered some stuff to kind of help construct the blind. And it's on private property, and we have permission to build it, but we're going to do it kind of a rustic way. We're not going to use rope or wire or bolts or screws or anything. We're going to kind of do like pegs and holes type construction.
And that's some of what the tools you got coming.
Yeah, to kind of help with that. And so we'll see how it goes. I've always kind of wanted to do that. Actually, when we used to hunt the log, that's what we call the log, that blind there, because the log is actually 2 or 3 huge cottonwoods that have been pushed up on the bank, right?
Yeah.
And we used to just sit in there, and when the ducks flew by, we'd try to shoot them.
Right, skyball
them, and it, like, we could.
Yeah, we got pretty good by
the end of the season.
Now we've been spoiled.
Oh, yeah, I don't, like, if we try to do it now. But where we were sitting in the log, I always wanted to, we kind of leaned to a blind, but I'm like, these big logs, if we could drill a hole and stick a stick in.
You could make it.
So we're going to do that, and I think we're going to expand it from a 2 guys and a dog to 4 guys and 3 dogs type of blind.
Why wouldn't you? There's enough ducks coming in there where you might not hit your limit by 8:30, but if you had 4 guys, you could probably hit it by 10, easy 4 guys limit.
Oh yeah. And if you guys have any advice, or you're listening to this and you're like, this is what you should do with the blind, let us know. I am thinking of putting in some back doors for your dog.
Yeah, that would that would make sense. And have it a one way so you're not clogging up the front where your guns are at. Come through the back, and that just makes sense.
And then I'm thinking of putting like a platform or something in there, because I've noticed my dog will want to creep, but that's so he can look over the blind. Mm-hmm. I want to put him on something that's a little raised so he can see kind of not quite eye level with me, but
see out of the blind.
My dog didn't have that problem. He didn't, but you're right. We're above the river, so for them to see where the ducks land, they kind of need to be up. But I also think it'll help to get them off the ground, especially when it's snowing. Their water can drip off of them. They're not sitting in their puddle of water and ice,
I mean, they love it. They love it more than we do, 100%.
That's why
the dogs.
That's why I go. Like, if my dog hated it or I didn't have a dog and you're like, yeah, let's go, I might go once or twice, but I wouldn't. This is my bay. I wouldn't have my duck noose. Like, this is, it's
all right.
Well, and you talked about, I did want to mention your dog couldn't find his way into the blind. We had another episode with your dog on that cut bank, because we're sitting above a cut bank. And remember, Garett's dog's 90 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay. And I haven't tested it, but I think he could put his paws on your shoulders.
No,
And stand
not
up.
quite. But
He's pretty tall.
he's tall.
I have a theory that he's part Great Dane. You should send him in to get him genetic tested.
Yeah.
I'd be curious.
If you pay for it, I'll do it.
I wonder how much it is. Can't be
Like,
that
like
much.
$75.
I'll pay for half.
All right,
That's a deal. Okay. All right, deal. This cut bank, which he could totally come up and down, done 100 times, he would jump down there, get a duck, and then he couldn't figure out how to get back up.
Back and forth. And
Run
back
back and forth. and
The
back.
weekend before,
Yeah.
it was fine. He would jump down, grab a duck, bring it back. But I had the GoPro strapped on him, so I don't know if he just felt like he was a little more restricted.
All I know is he's running back and forth
Yeah.
on the bank, and ducks would be coming in. And I'm like, Garrett, you got to get your fucking dog back in the blind. Yeah. But Forge, this last time we went, no, okay, so normally I work with Forge for waterfowl when we switch. When we transition from upland hunting and we go to waterfowl, it's a little different. Waterfowl's a lot more like you don't have to find the bird normally. It's very sight driven. You see it fall, I need to get the bird, and you wait for the go. And then I use hand signals, which
Direct
way to
him
go,
which way.
and he can grab a duck, bring it to the bank, not even bring it to me. He could drop it, and I could send him again, right? Well, the first 4 or 5 weekends we were going, he just wasn't clicked in. It was like did you forget all the shit
Yeah.
you could do? And yesterday, man, it was like he got a good night's sleep, and he remembered what the hell he was doing. He went out for actually the last 2 weekends when Bruce went. He did very well too. Is he would go clear across the river, get ducks. I had a duck that we had shot. It did one of those things where it hits the water, swims, and it's flying upriver. And I'm like, damn it. And I'm watching it, and all of a sudden it like falls out of the sky and hits the water. Well, it's swimming clear, or it's kind of floating clear on the other side of the bank. His head's up, and all of a sudden his head's down and he's belly up. And he's coming by us, but he's on the other side of the river. And I'm like, there's no... And I look over, and Forge has him.
Has him marked watching him.
I don't think he saw him fall because it was far off.
Saw
So I
him
think as
floating
it floated down, he saw him. Well, I sent him. He swam across the river and brought that duck back, right? And then even when we were going crazy, your dog would go, my dog would go, your dog would go, my dog would go. And we were pulling ducks out of the water right and left. And at the... when we went to leave, there was some geese on an island in the middle of the river. And we're like, we could probably shoot them. So I kind of screwed you on that, not meaning to. But when we popped out of the bushes, they started to fly a shot, and I dropped one, but he's on the island. He fell kind of on the other side. Well, Forge saw him drop, and this current, I think you have some videos of it.
Yeah, I do.
So maybe pop that up
Yeah,
as we're talking about this. But it was heavy current, and he kind of walked down the bank, and all of a sudden he's in, and that current swept him way down below the island. He got underneath the island. He came up till he could touch and ran up the island and got that goose.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, Forge is not a big lab. He's 55 pounds.
Yeah.
You know,
Slim
and
built.
slim. He's lean. And he got that goose picked up, and he jumped back in that heavy current. And I'm like, get your dog ready, because he might lose this goose in this current. But he came all the way across, so...
One of my favorite pictures is right at that moment. Your dog does this amazing retrieve. You grab the goose and you're holding it up, and your dog's like kind of jumping. It's just like a great photo, but your fly's down. I can't post that.
Well, so these are the pants I'm wearing, right? You can post it.
All right.
I won't be embarrassed. I'm wearing 2 layers of pants. The first layer of pants I'm wearing is too small waist for me. So I have them unbuttoned and unzipped.
How much hunting clothes do you have? Why are you wearing pants that are too small?
Because I'm too late. Okay, so all my stuff from that I big game hunting is sitting in a bin downstairs to get washed. I haven't washed it yet. So I'm running on like clothes that I haven't worn in years, right? And then my other set, the reason it looks like my fly open, those are just my puffy pants.
Okay.
And there's not a zipper to them. They have one button at the top.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because they're meant to just like unzip or zip on over your clothes when you get cold. So that's what that's what it is. That's why it looks like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, God, Jesus, the guy can't even quit playing with himself.
You
for
could
a dang
Photoshop
picture.
something.
Yeah.
Come on, to hit a little bit of the clear it up,
Blur.
Yeah, blur it. If you're gonna blur it about to
Blur
my
it
knee.
big,
Yeah, swinging knee
Really
deep.
exaggerate. Maybe a truck with jacked up and big wheels on it in the back too.
Yeah. So yeah, just that day, I just felt like Forge worked so well. Like there's not much.
And how satisfying is that though?
Just cool.
It's so
Just
cool.
You feel like a partnership.
Yeah.
Like he's got my back, I've got his back. And I know Mom, and the river wasn't iced up. And Mom's like, "Don't you swim out to save that dog?" And I'm thinking,
I do it.
I do it in a freaking heartbeat, you know. But yeah, just awesome and cool and fun.
So over this last year, we kind of lost where we hunt geese, right?
Yeah.
So Flux, I really want to get him experience with geese. So after your dog brought this goose back, I'm like, hey, do you mind if Flux grabs it?
And you got to remember, my dog, I've worked with him so much because geese are big for him.
Yeah.
Like when he first went for geese, he couldn't really pick them up. And so I brought him home and I sat on the top of my stairs and I got a big goose decoy and I actually zip tied real goose wings on it. And I'd throw it down the stairs and he'd have to go down and pull it up the stairs. Like,
And he kind of grabs it where the wings attach.
he learned that. He grabs the shoulder and he can pick them up. So we go for my dog who can pick up geese, but it's like he's working, right? And if he picks them up anywhere else besides the shoulder, he can't pick them up. So there's a specific spot he's learned, and you'll watch him. He kind of goes around and flips it, and when he can get that, he picks them up. And then we go to your horse dog.
Like an alligator mouth on him.
He
Walks
does.
over, just
Big old
grabs
long
it.
head.
And it's like a carrying a duck. He was
Yeah.
like, doo-doo-doo.
And like looking around.
Yeah.
Big old goose flopping around. He's like,
Goose dog.
yeah. Or swan dog.
Yeah.
That guy could probably pick up a
He
swan.
could.
Yeah. If he just
Yeah. Wasn't intimidated by
wasn't intimidated.
Still
by
kind
it.
of a puppy at heart.
Yeah. And brain wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just so cool about having the dogs work.
Watching them work.
Yeah. And then Dad's dog, Quench, Dad told me the other day, and it made me laugh. He goes, I think my dog likes fetch more than hunting. Like, he's all about fetch. So
Yeah.
every time we're ready to go, Dad's worked with his dog. The dog goes out and brings in the decoys. So, like, as soon as we start picking up, that dog cues in, runs up, grabs
does.
decoys.
I've seen it
drop
happen.
it off, goes, grabs decoys, drops it on bank. Which is, I mean, it helps pick up so fast.
It does.
But he just loves
I told
it.
him, I go, that's one thing I wish I would have trained Forge to do is
Yeah.
pick up decoys. Because it's,
Yeah.
he does. He
Yeah.
loves it.
It's cool, too.
Yeah.
But
But in Quench is, he's probably the worst one when it comes to breaking.
yeah.
You know, he doesn't quite want to sit. I think the other dogs give him competition.
Right.
But I will say he's got such a drive. It's real easy to get him out after a duck,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
where the other two might hesitate. He's like,
There's definitely a time where both my dog and Quench go out, and I'm like, Flux, go get it. And he kind of hesitates, and then Quench is there. Boom.
yeah.
And it's like, you son of a bitch. You know that you didn't want to do that, so you just let Quench go
Yeah.
get in the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's,
Well, this is hunting, but it's like, I kind of feel like it's like golfing in a sense that I'm not like intense in it. You know, I'm really kind of enjoying it. And it's just something you do for like half a day, you know, and then we usually eat breakfast or lunch when we get home. It's just, I don't know. It's just relaxing. We go.
big game can be like that.
I don't
You're
think it
not
can
wired
be.
like that.
I don't
But it
think
can-
big.
There's people that go out and just enjoy the day and kind of relax and go hunting. And then there's people that are very driven that are like, I'm going to go.
If
go
I
till
was
get
going
my-
to just shoot a deer, I think I could like flux it out.
Oh, is that a new term now?
But when I'm big game hunting, it's like I'm on a mission. I'm looking for a big animal, you know, and I do not appreciate as much stuff as I can, mostly because I'm focused. It's more when I look back, I can appreciate.
More of a type 2 fun versus waterfowl would be more like a type 1. You're enjoying it while you're there.
Yeah, like I I don't crave waterfowl. Like big game season's over and it's been nice to have a break, but I'm looking forward to spring bear now. Like I'm looking forward to, chasing it more. I don't necessarily look forward to waterfowl. It's just like something fun you do, like going to Chuck E. Cheese or going golfing.
Going to Chuck E. Cheese.
When you were a
That's
kid.
your reference?
Well,
When's the last time you been to Chuck E. Cheese?
It's like a video game. Like it's not, I'm not.
There's not a lot of effort out, particularly in this situation.
It's 20 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
I can drive right up to my blind. I throw my gun, my shells in, and then I go park the truck in a bush so they can't see it. Or I guess I throw decoys out. That's it. And then by 8:30, I've got my limited ducks. I pick up, I put my gun, my bullets, the decoys in the truck.
Even sometimes when I'm up on a hill looking for deer, I just think about me and my dog kind of sitting, working, watching birds come in. So I have that admiration even when it's not duck season.
I don't, but also my dog walks with me when I big game hunt. So like if I'm up on a hill glassing, he's usually laying on me or, So I have that companionship there. And I like waterfowl. I like upland so much more to watch my dog work.
Yeah, a lot more
He has to do a lot more.
interaction for upland, yeah.
Yeah. He really, like, he works for it.
Yeah.
And not to say he doesn't work for the ducks, but it's like fetch. It's just a giant game of fetch.
Yeah, but they love it.
They love it, and that's why I love it. But when I'm upland hunting, I get that.
You have to more pay attention to him.
They still have fetch, but they're also in
Find the bird.
It's crazy the communication I have with my dog when he's doing that, right?
Right.
Like I'm watching his tail. I can tell what he's sniffing or what he's thinking.
Oh, yep, get ready.
I mean, that we took Justin, right?
Oh, right.
And it was like, for some, I should have bought a lottery ticket that day.
You should have.
For some reason, I'm like, hey, check that bush. There's going to be stuff in there. There's going to be, and every time we were flushing birds, and watching my dog work. All right. Yep, here he goes. Yep. He's going to, here they come. Boom. Birds would bust, and it was like, to be that connected with my dog in that way.
It's cool.
There's something there.
Yeah.
And we say this over and over again. It's different than just having a house dog.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if deeper level is the correct term, but it's more connected. I really feel like I know what he's thinking or feeling or.
Well, just the amount of time you put in there, right?
Yeah. But
the more time you spend with something, you go on these adventures together and you kind of learn to understand each other. And you don't necessarily get that with a pet on the level you do with actually working trying to accomplish something. What I've noticed is my dog is nuts now. I don't know if he's on that hunting endurance or what, but like in the mornings now, he's just freaking wild. Thinks we're going hunting. Like he hears me get up, then he just freaking barges in the bedroom, tail wagging, slapping the drawers, waking the baby up. So
where does your dog sleep?
On the couch normally.
Really?
Yeah. He used to sleep in the bedroom, but I think he gets too toasty.
Hot. My dog sleeps under the bed or on your feet.
No.
But my alarm will go off at 5 a.m. And with the ducks, we're shooting. On the days we're off, my alarm doesn't change. So for work, I'm up at 5. For ducks, I'm up at 5, right? But I've got 3 alarms. And if I don't get up by the third one, Forge will get up and start licking my face and nudging me. Like, yeah, it's time to go. It's time to go. Let's go. And then that fucker, I'll get up and he'll lay back down. And he'll stay upstairs and I'll get the truck packed. He'll hear me. And I'll go, hey, you coming? And I'll be at the back door and I'll hear him upstairs. Jump off the bed. Come down the stairs. Out the door.
Ready to go.
Yeah. It's like, hey, get up. Get the shit ready.
Yeah.
I'll wait up here.
I'll keep this warm.
Yeah. Right.
Man, it's just been, looking back this year, lots happened.
Yeah, it has. What are you thinking for next year? Do you have any stuff you want to have happen?
One thing I've never done, I know that several people that live in the state have, is paddle fishing. I've never got a paddle fish. And
I felt like we saw one.
The Missouri trip.
What was that, do you think?
It had to be a sturgeon or a paddlefish.
I mean, it was, 6 feet long, maybe?
Yeah.
That was a river
water.
monster there, yeah.
get Jeremy Wade.
Yeah. So you want to catch a paddlefish?
Catch a paddlefish. Just try it, and then try to see what it tastes like. And kind of, I'm always down. I got the grayling and the swan, so always looking for the next big thing.
I want to shoot a Sandhill crane.
Yeah.
Every year we kind of want to do that. We never really push for it, but it seems like we've been drawing tags. And that's what kind of throws a wrench in.
Yeah, right. Well, even we had plans to go after talking with Dylan Waller about Upland season 1. We were talking about going to a different state and maybe trying to get some quail. And then that got backburnered because of the whole elk thing. It was like...
Yeah. So that's kind of on my list too, is I want to, if none of us are drawing special tags this year, I want to hit Sandhill crane and I want to make one trip out of state somewhere to hunt birds with my dog.
I was close to Sandhill cranes this year. They were just on the other side of the pond that I could hunt.
You were close, but we're very opportunistic when it comes to Sandhill cranes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about if we don't have anything drawn, I want to target Sandhill cranes.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not going pheasant hunting. No, I'm not chasing Sharpies. I'm not chasing antelope. I'm going to go shoot a sand. You know, try for him. What else? Do you have anything else for the new year?
I think that's all I can think of right now.
I got a few I wrote down. I do want to beat your black bear.
Why?
Yeah.
Why can't I have something?
Well, now you've taken elk from me. You got the biggest elk, right? So what am I beating you on? Mountain goat, but that doesn't count because you haven't
had the opportunity.
Have the opportunity. Antelope. I've got you.
Do you?
We're pretty close.
Let's see the scorecard.
I never had them officially scored.
No.
I just did it myself with a metric tape.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll say tie on antelope for now, right?
You really never had it scored?
No.
Because for like 2 years you've been telling me a score slightly above mine.
Maybe I did have it scored.
I think you're
we have those scores we got.
Oh, the tape scores.
The tape scores. I did pronghorn on there and measured him. That's what I did. Yeah, because I don't think the guy can score him that I took him to get done with. Yeah. Anyways, you got me on elk. I got you on mule deer.
Yeah.
Is that the only real thing?
Whitetail. I think you shot a bigger whitetail than I have.
All right, whitetail.
So you're winning. Why are you trying to?
No, and you got me on black bear. You got me on swan now. And I don't remember your wingspan, but we'll have to record that because I'm going to be...
Yeah. You're going to be ranging it in the scale.
Yeah, doing the math. No, I need a few more inches.
Yeah.
I do want to get a black bear. Jeremy, our friend Jeremy, he's talked about... We have a few friends, Jeremy. This is one of the Jeremys. Talked about ice fishing. And I'm looking forward to that. We need to get enough ice on the lakes. And then we're going to go ice fish for walleye.
Ooh.
And it's a late night thing. Like 6 a.m. when it's dark, they're catching them. So, I don't know. That'll be kind of cool. Also want to... There's some places that people are ice fishing for salmon. That would be pretty fun to do.
Yeah.
This is not necessarily next year stuff, just... It's the new year, just stuff we're looking forward to.
Yeah,
trying and coming up. Yeah, and then I built you a fly rod.
Oh, yep.
It's not quite done yet.
No. So before you do any of that other shit, my fly rod's got to get done.
Says who?
Says me. I got to get it going as soon as springtime goes. Boom.
Boom. What?
Fishing.
Where? Springtime. Where are you fishing in the spring?
March Madness. Floating the
March
rivers.
Madness.
I've done it before.
You floated the rivers and fished in March.
I'll put a picture of it here. I don't actually have the fly rod. I don't have a picture of it yet. You started it. It's got our logo on it. Beautiful blank that you did. But you kind of owe me because you broke my original fly rod like 5 years ago.
Okay, so let's talk about that story.
Do we need to? I mean, that kind of brings up some past trauma.
Well, I think it's misleading. You said I broke your fly rod. All right. There's two types of people in this world.
Okay. We're going broad. All right.
Yeah.
Let's hear the Gerardo approach.
There's people that stay on the path that everybody's on. And there's people that see another path and say, I'll try it. Not many people go down this path. Right? The road less traveled, you could say. Well, we were floating a river that we float quite often, fly fishing. And it was high water. And there's this back channel that we know wraps around because we usually fish where the outlet comes out. But it was high enough water. I'm like, hey, why don't we try floating down it? And Dad's like,
don't float down it.
And I'm like, I'm going to float down it. All right, whatever. So we started floating down it. We kind of come around the corner. And was there a tree falling across it? Or there was something. There was a lot of...
Yeah, it was like a broken tree and then hanging out in the water.
Hanging across it. So you couldn't get around it. We had to go under this tree.
Yeah.
And so we kind of duck and we're going under this tree. Well, your fly rod was leaned on the tube and caught a branch. And it bent it around and broke it.
It was coming down and we were getting the tree was broken off. The current was pushing the boat in the thing. So I threw down my fly rod and ran over and pushed off the tree to keep the boat from slamming on the log and popping. And then my fly rod snapped.
Yeah. So
don't skew it like I just put my rod down.
I broke your fly rod is like a little different than saying that's like saying
I said don't go down this channel.
Jared chose to float the river today. And when we floated the river, my fly rod broke. Therefore, Jared broke my fly rod. Yeah. And then you go, well, I told you we shouldn't have floated that day. And it's like, well.
Okay, well, let's talk specifics.
We couldn't have seen the tree when we started.
Let's go down the side channel. I said, no, don't go down the side channel. Dad's like, don't go down the side channel.
You know why? Because you guys are squares. Like, inside the box.
I'm going to go down the side channel.
We'll be fine.
Then I take a risk.
Well, so you broke it.
I take a risk to save the boat from popping. And
I don't
break
think
my
the
fly
boat
rod.
was going to pop.
It was 100%. It was going to slam us on this root. That's why my fly rod was not in my hand. I don't know how your mind, Gennardo, twisted it, but that's what happened.
You did not save the boat from getting popped.
I did.
No, because you were on the left side and the water was pushing us the right side.
No, 100%.
Dumb. Dumb.
Okay, whatever you say.
I was on the sticks.
Clearly not good.
I was on the sticks.
Viewers, if Jared ever invites you on the river, don't go. Bad oarsman.
How about this? Don't lay your fly rod off the boat.
I saved the boat and came up with a broken fly rod based on your dumbassness. Is that a word?
I think if you would have just shut up and sat down, we would have been fine.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
No.
Yeah. You got all nervous, anxiety.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
Keep talking. I'll just make another fly rod for myself.
Yeah.
Your name's not on that at all.
I'll probably go back and listen to this episode and it'll probably be edited. It'll probably be like, Jared, I broke my fly rod by myself. You are right.
No, your fly rod definitely broke, and it was based off a decision I made to float down that channel. But I didn't physically or accidentally break your fly rod. I might have tipped the first domino that led to that, but I think it's a stretch. So I'm building you a new one. You're welcome.
I don't think it's a stretch.
I'm building you a new one. You're welcome.
5 years after the fact.
That's fucked up.
What's fucked up?
It's fucked up that you associate that.
That you broke my fly rod?
I didn't break your fly rod.
You did. Let's put a pin in it.
No. I didn't break your fly rod. That's ridiculous. Have the viewers, they can type in, our 6 viewers can type in and tell me if I broke your fly rod or if it broke because of some shenanigans that we got in.
Here's what I'm saying. I think we should bring our father, which is the other witness. I'd have 2 witnesses.
Yeah, but Dad is that way. You're like his clone. It's almost it's almost like
conspiracy.
It's almost like you backing into Dad's trailer and then blaming me for waking you up to back up your truck. That's what it's like.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. No. Did I make you back up the truck?
No.
Yeah. Yes. 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 You're ridiculous.
I can't believe you think it like that.
I just took away that fly rod. That's going to be my second fly rod now. Yep.
That's how that hurt your feelings. It
He
just
didn't
speaks-
hurt my feelings.
Facts
That's just ridiculous.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Not a fact. Not a fact.
Agree to disagree.
Call Buddy Joe. Give him
The
a phone
witness.
call.
How come the witness has to be my buddy?
Well,
You're so full of shit.
I'm not full of shit. Here's what you have to understand: is it's always you and Joe. Even on the raft, you and Joe. So
put
he's
that-
a tainted
You
witness.
put that in your
tainted witness. Tainted
Only
witness.
in your worldview is it me and Joe.
You are he's a tainted witness.
Okay.
He is.
Yeah. So it's a conspiracy theory. Everybody's against Jared.
No, I don't think you guys are against me. I just think you're one of the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not an
Okay.
objective witness.
Okay. And on your side, you have no witnesses.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Let's just state the facts.
We know what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
We might disagree on how the strings are connected, but we both agree that we floated down the channel and your fly rod broke.
We floated down a channel that I specifically said, don't go down.
Yeah, but
Don't
after
go
I'm like,
down.
I'm going to try it. You're like, fine, all right, but it's you. Fuck, all right. You guys hemmed and hawed, but it wasn't like, don't you dare go down this. I'm like, I'm going to try it. I don't think so. We've never gone down it before. And I'm like, this is how memories are made.
Yeah.
And your
How
memory.
fly rods are broken.
Yeah,
That's my
your fly
memory.
rod
Yeah.
did get broke, but
Yeah.
saying that I fucking broke it is a little bit of a stretch.
You did.
A little bit of a stretch.
That's
So-
like you're driving a car and you get in a car crash and kill your passenger. Did you kill your passenger? The court of law would say yes.
No, it's more like if I was driving a car and you told me to take a left and I took a left and then I got into a crash and I blamed you for telling me to take a
No,
left.
because you're in
Yeah.
control of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as
somewhat.
as soon as you're on the sticks of that vehicle, it's in your
sticks of
control.
what?
The vehicle, the boat.
Yeah.
It's in your control, so you are responsible.
Okay, so I'm going down this road and my passenger decides to throw his shit out the window.
Out
and
the
then
window?
blame me that
It
broke.
wasn't out the window.
It was off the boat.
It was on the boat.
It was off the boat.
It hangs off the boat because it's
It
a fly
didn't
rod.
have
It's 7
to.
feet. It did.
It's a
It
16-foot
did.
boat.
And the reason why it
9
did
foot
is I
fly rod.
stopped the boat from popping.
On what?
A log. Tree.
No.
Yeah.
The tree. Maybe a branch hanging off the tree.
I didn't realize your memory was that bad. But on to the next thing.
Yeah, what else do you want? Because I'm making a second fly rod for myself now.
I'm sorry. I hurt
Maybe
your
I'll make
feelings.
you a sign
Yeah.
that said, you took my CD in broad daylight and you scratched it.
Yeah. Maybe I'll
That's
make you
all
a
I
sign
got.
that says,
You done pissed me off now. I gotta
Oh,
go to bed
I'm
pissed
sorry.
off. Yep.
all right. Are we wrapping it up then?
I don't know. What else do you want to talk about?
I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. I'm making you a custom. I turned this cork handle by myself, ordered the individual cork, cut cork. You should have seen this process into fucking 16th inch slices. That's how thick they were. And then I cut them into pie shapes and made the pattern and I stacked them for 6.5 fucking inches. Do the math there. It was like hours and hours, hundreds of little pieces I meticulously glued together to make you this piece
I
of art.
really appreciate it.
It doesn't sound like you do.
I do. I just would like it finished so I may go fishing.
You've not fished.
I will. Well, I haven't had a fly rod.
Yeah,
It's
you
been
have.
broke.
You have more than one.
It's been broke.
You have more than one.
I have a fly rod and it doesn't feel right. You know when you get something and you get used to it and it just
No.
feels like yeah, you do.
No, I
Oh.
can fish with any fly rod.
No. Well, I can't.
And
I
you
had a
don't fish.
Special connection.
You don't fish.
It was
Maybe back in the
broken and
day.
shattered.
Maybe back in the day you
I would have
fished.
probably been the top 10 fly fishermen if you wouldn't have broke my favorite rod.
No, I've seen. You've hooked the back of your head.
That was with a spinner, not a fly.
Who'd you hook with a fly? Or are you notorious for hooking people with
Spinners,
spinners?
treble
spinners,
hooks. Yeah.
treble hooks? No, that's what it is.
Hence why I want to go paddle fishing.
Yeah, maybe I'll stay away from you. Yeah. All right.
Well, be sure to share your shot, not your spot.
Like we did here.
Yep. We kind of tell you our stories, but we're not telling you exactly where we do it. It's kind of a bad thing in this industry is a lot of spots get ruined. So, and it's even a conflict that we're kind of having is like, we like to talk about what we love to do, but we have to leave out enough detail to where it's not going to ruin it for us and people around us that do it.
Yeah. And we would like to get into detail about some of the stuff we do. But when you start spreading that information, other people pick it up, other people start doing it, it ruins it.
Yeah.
All right. So if you figure out something like, for instance, how we're hunting these ducks, I think if we really went through our process on it, some other guys would be able to do it, but then it just spreads. And with social media, it spreads. And all of a sudden, everybody's doing it, and it doesn't work as good, or it doesn't work at all. So we deal with that a lot. Just tonight, before dinner, we were watching some videos of some guys. They have a channel. There was three of them.
Yeah, I think 3.
From Oregon or Washington, one of those states that are on the list of license plates you hate to see when you're in the 406. And it was a Montana mule deer hunt. Do it yourself, public land, blah, blah, blah. And we watched them, and they were shooting. And first thing I said, I'm like, these guys are shooting way too far. I thought. They missed a few times before they hit the deer. And to me, that's just like, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But you could tell that they were
ways out there.
They were really reaching out, which I didn't like. And then they did shoot 3 bucks. And I'm not here to harp on, somebody's trophy. But in my opinion, they were young bucks. And that bugs me some, because I pride myself on hunting mature bucks. But then I have people that are coming in, 3 buddies on a party tag or something, and they shoot 3 young deer that'll never be able to get big and mature, right? And so, yes, they got theirs, they're happy, but hundreds of people are doing this every year off public land, and it's decimating these mature buck populations.
It's
made me sick watching that video.
Yeah. Well,
so I would like to make a video of us hunting and plaster it all over online and say, this is do it yourself, this is where, blah, 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 blah. But I can't, because I feel like it's whoring out the state. And I feel like it's bringing guys just like that. Oh, I can do it yourself here. And they're shooting my young buck population. And I don't know. It's just
like, more power to you to go out and enjoy the outdoors, but I'm not going to be a vessel to make it easier for you. Is that wrong? Is that correct way of saying that?
Yeah. Let me try to clarify. We really don't want to put out a lot of information that tells people how to do the things we do, because once you do that, other people take that information in and start doing it, and it ruins it. There's some stuff we do that I was just thinking, it sounds like we're doing illegal stuff, but we're not. We're doing legal stuff, but the way we do it and how we go about it, we have a style, a certain way of looking at things, certain way of doing things. And if we were to really share that, I could see some group of 3 fucks from Washington, the next time I go to do my thing, they're over there going, oh, we're doing a do it. Look at this deer we shot. And I'm like, fuck. Like, he would have been good in another 2 years. Like, let that fucker grow. But I'm also here not to shame trophies. If that's your buck and you're proud of it, that's great. But the fact of the matter is, when you're shooting 2 or 3 year old deer, you're fucking my mature buck population.
Where you're hunting, right?
Yeah. That's another thing is, some of these videos, I'm like,
they're pretty specific on where they're hunting.
Yes, I know, right? Pretty close to where they're hunting, and I'm like, damn.
I'd probably enjoy talking to you.
I probably would enjoy hanging out with you. Yeah. But I think the title of it was like Montana mule deer trophy or something like
region specific.
Regions, even better. Region specific. Like, how dumb do you have to be?
Yeah.
I'm going to post all over YouTube where I'm shooting just say they were big deer. Big deer. And I'm going to tell people the region, the county, the section, and the property I was on. It's do it yourself. Show up. You could do it too. What do you think is going to happen next year?
Yeah.
You know?
And we're not in the business of that, right?
No.
We're in the business. We want to document our memories and we want to talk about issues and kind of get people informed about these outdoor issues, but we're not in it to whore out the natural resource. So it's a little bit of a balance because, we post pictures of like a bunch of dead ducks and, but we're not telling you how to do it. We're not telling you exactly where to do it.
And
it's just a hard balance for us so far.
I really do want to create like a hunting video, this next year of us big game hunting something and put it together like some of these guys do. But what do I title it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The same thing they do. And then
You're no better.
I'm no better. You know what I mean? So it's like, I almost want to title it just like deer hunting in the United States.
Yeah, there you go.
Like,
I'm sure that'll get a good click through rate.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just it. And then we're not using these buzzwords and getting on this algorithm with the horn out Montana. And so you don't get as many clicks, but is it worth getting all these clicks for ruining some of these spots for people? I know we're not the only ones feeling it. I know I've talked to lots of guys. They're like, some guys I know don't even big game hunt anymore. They just got too sick of the
whole rigmarole.
Yeah, the rat race that happens. So, yeah,
But follow that. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
Look at all of our stuff.
Our website.
Yep.
If you have any questions or anything you guys want us to talk about or anything you want to talk about, DM us, send us a message on any of those platforms. And we'll set it up.
All right. Well, I would like to say this last year we did do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I know our motto is surviving the week and living on the weekends. And I think we did just that. We got through another year and we lived a life, man. Yep. We've got some cool memories and, we've documented a lot on this podcast and we got lots of pictures. And, I'm probably not going to die a very rich man, but I'm money wise, but I'm going to go to my grave kicking and screaming with a lot of these memories connected to nature and family and, kind of all the stuff we do. So with that, we're going to keep surviving the week
to live on the weekend.